mean, if you take the problem of global warming, for example, the person who, as you probably know, the person who discovered this, who discovered global warming, was that we were creating global warming, was a man called Arrhenius, a Swede who discovered it in 1896. He thought it would be a good thing because Sweden is rather a cold country, and he thought it would warm things up a bit, and that would be good. And then there's a man called Collingridge who in 1938 gave a lecture to the Meteorological Society in London in which he laid it all out, and he actually got some evidence that industrialization was already warming the planet. But of course 1938 was not a very good time to talk about these things, when the war was just about to be unleashed, so he was forgotten about. But in 1958, this man Keeling started these very careful measurements of the concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere in Hawaii. And what he found was that the temperature, the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere was steadily going up year on year. Actually, what he discovered was that it jiggled, because his measurements were so accurate that he could detect the difference from spring and autumn. In spring, when all the leaves have been created, there is more oxygen, and then when they all decay, CO2 is emitted, so it sort of wiggles like that. But nevertheless, what he detected was that CO2 was steadily going up, and we knew then that that was going to warm the planet. In fact, it was John Tyndall who discovered the crucial properties of CO2, that it absorbs light. That, I mean, what it's all due to is that you're a physicist, so you know about these things, that light comes down from the sun, and then more infrared light gets reflected, and then that gets absorbed by the CO2 molecules in the air and re-emitted in all directions, and so some of it comes back again, and it's that essentially warms the planet. It's a greenhouse gas, and we ought to have started taking action in the, well, I think by the mid-60s or the late 60s. And did you read the report that came out in The Guardian a day or two ago, that climate scientists had looked back to the climate models that climate scientists had concocted in the early 60s for the rise in temperature that the Earth would suffer? And what they predicted, if we didn't do anything, that is, if we carried on as we are, is almost exactly what has happened. They got it absolutely right. Almost all the models predicted what has happened. So our knowledge, but I mean, that isn't necessary. You know, we insure our houses on the very, very faint possibility that they will burn down. Mostly, for most of us, they don't. Yeah. So the mere possibility that this might happen should have been enough to alert everyone to how incredibly dangerous it is just to carry on. And in my view, if academia had been behaving properly and taken as its fundamental task to help humanity educate itself about what our problems are and what we need to do about it, then they would have been shouting from the rooftops about this problem and what we need to do. And they should have spelled out policies, you know, that we need to cut down on coal and oil and gas and have lots more sustainable methods of making energy. And we also have to cut down on our use of energy. We have to insulate our houses and stop travelling by car, and it's much better to go by coach than it is by airplane, etc., etc. And they didn't do any of this. I mean, what they did was they locked into the straitjacket of knowledge inquiry, they continued to accumulate knowledge. Even the whole business of acquiring knowledge about the climate crisis was undermined by specialization, because, as I discovered in a book about the history of it all, the ocean people didn't talk to the air people, who didn't talk to the polar people, who didn't talk to the glacier people, and so they didn't really, it took a long time to put the whole picture together and realize that all these different facets of what was going on, you know, all contributed to the same message: we're heating up the planet. And that was delayed by 5 more years, just because they were all burrowing away in their specialised fields. But I mean, the far bigger disgrace was the failure to speak out about it, loud and clear.